Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. If you are a focused learner looking to navigate a Japanese corporate environment without breaking a sweat, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, I'll be acting as your professional language guide, seamlessly blending clear English explanations with native-level Japanese pronunciation. We're going to master 30 essential vocabulary words that will dramatically improve your communication skills, whether that's for the Business Japanese Proficiency Test, the BJT, or, for actual real-world workplace situations. Let's get your Japanese business communication skills sharpened and ready for the boardroom.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our game plan. Rather than just reading a random list, we're going to learn these 30 words by simulating the chronological life cycle of a real Tokyo boardroom meeting. We'll hit setting up the meeting, presentations and explanations, discussions and opinions, decisions and next steps, and finally, some real-world practice.
But before we do any of that, we absolutely have to know our hero word. The word for meeting in Japanese is kaigi. Let's try that in a quick sentence. Kaigi wa gogo 2時から始まります. The meeting starts at 2 p.m. Notice the crisp pronunciation of kaigi. That word is the foundation of everything we're covering today. Whenever you hear kaigi, you know it is time to get down to business.
All right, phase 1 of our simulated boardroom experience. Section 1, setting up the meeting. Because let's face it, before anyone even sits down, preparation is absolutely key. A standard Japanese meeting flow relies really heavily on structure. Step 1 is confirming the agenda, or gidai. Step 2 is making sure everyone has the right materials, known as shiryo, in their hands. And step 3 is ensuring someone is there to actively facilitate the progress, which is called shinko. As your guide, I highly recommend memorizing these 3 pillars to truly understand the rhythm of Japanese corporate culture. Let's look closely at physically prepping the room with 4 essential setup terms. First up is gidai, meaning agenda. You might say, Kyou no gidai o kakunin shimashou. Let's confirm today's agenda. Next, we have jijiroku, the meeting minutes. A super vital phrase here is Gijiroku o kyōnyū shite kudasai, meaning please share the meeting minutes. Then we've got our documents, shiryo, and the actual act of handing them out, haifu. So if you're passing out papers, you just say, Kaigi shiryo o haifu shimasu. I will distribute the meeting materials.
Of course, a meeting is nothing without its people, right? And this brilliantly illustrates how Japanese vocabulary often works with prefixes. Take a look at shuseki, meaning attendance, versus kesseki, meaning absence. The suffix, seki, relates to the seat itself, while the prefix changes the entire meaning. If you're attending, you say, Ashita no kaigi ni shuseki shimasu. I will attend tomorrow's meeting. But if the boss isn't going to make it, you'd say, Buchou wa kaigi o kesseki shimasu. The department manager will be absent from the meeting.
Okay, let's talk about the people and the timelines that pull everything together. First, the roles. You might have a smaller prep discussion called an uchiawaise. To run the main room, you absolutely need a moderator, or shikai, whose job is the shinko, the facilitation. You're also going to frequently hear the word tantosha. This is the person in charge. Kono anken no tantosha wa dare desu ka? Who is responsible for this project? And naturally, none of this works without a formal schedule, the nite, or a plan, the yote.
All right, the room is prepped, attendance is taken, the materials are handed out, and all eyes are on you. Let's move to Section 2, presentations and explanations. When you stand up to actually present your ideas, you need this core vocabulary. Happyo is the presentation itself. When you need to explain the granular details, you provide a setsume. But the most critical parts of your presentation will likely involve 2 things: your goal, the mokujou, and your progress status, the shinchoku. That last word is incredibly common. To report on how things are going, use the sentence, Projecto no shinchoku o hokoku shimasu. I will report the project's progress. Shinchoku, progress status. Definitely lock that one in your memory.
So, you've finished your presentation, you sit back down. But the meeting is far from over. We are now shifting the room's energy from a one-way report into a collaborative corporate debate. Section 3, discussions and opinions.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these specific words drive a project forward. You open the floor for a discussion, a giron. During this, your colleagues will share their iken, their opinions. They might make a brand new proposal, a teian, to address a current issue or challenge, which is called a kadai. If things get lively, and they often do, you might summarize the room by saying, Kappatsu na giron ga okawaremashita. An active discussion took place.
In any good discussion, there's a constant volley of back and forth. This is the act of asking a question, a shitsumon, versus providing a formal answer or response, a kaito. If you want to interject politely during a meeting, simply raise your hand and say deferentially, "Shitsumon ga arimasu," I have a question. The presenter will then respectfully reply with, "Go shitsumon ni kaito shimasu," I will answer your question.
Eventually, opinions will solidify, and you're going to need polite but firm words to take a stance. Do you agree or do you oppose? Agreement is sansei. Opposition is hantai. If you want to enthusiastically show your support for a colleague's idea, state, "Watashi wa sono an ni sansei desu." I agree with that proposal. Alternatively, if you seriously need to push back, you firmly say, "Sono iken ni hantai desu." I oppose that opinion.
The debate has run its course. Everyone has shared their opinions, their agreements, and their oppositions. It's time to transition into the final administrative phase. Section 4, Decisions and Next Steps.
This is where we lock down our action items. The ultimate goal here is a decision, a ketsi. To get there, we look at our ketsuron, our conclusion, and we establish a taisaku, a countermeasure or solution to any issues. We also need to plan for jikai, the next time we meet. But honestly, perhaps the most powerful word here is shonin, approval. In Japanese business culture, consensus is literally everything. So if a project requires executive sign-off, you must secure this. Shacho no shonin ga hitsuyou desu. The president's approval is necessary.
We've set up the room, presented the data, debated the issues, and finalized our decisions. Now it is time for Section 5, Real-World Practice.
So, I've got to ask you directly. Are you ready for your first Japanese team meeting? Come on, focus up. We are going to test the vocabulary we've just learned in an active listening scenario structured exactly like what you'd hear on the Business Japanese Proficiency Test. Listen closely to how the vocabulary flows in a natural conversation and see how much you comprehend on the first pass. You've totally got this.
Picture this. The moderator steps to the front of the room, looks at the attendees, and says this vital, unifying phrase to kick things off. Kaigi o hajimemashou. Let's start the meeting. Let's actually act out this dialogue. Colleague A turns to the room and begins by setting the agenda. 今日の議題は何ですか? What is today's agenda? Colleague B nods and replies by reporting the progress. プロジェクトの進捗についてです. It's about the project's progress. Colleague A then leans in to identify the issues. 現在の課題はありますか? Are there any current issues? Colleague B sighs, revealing a deadline issue. はい、納期が課題です. Yes, the deadline is an issue. Finally, colleague A proposes moving toward a solution. では、新しい対策を考えましょう. Then let's think of a new solution. Notice how perfectly those vocabulary words, 議題, 進捗, 課題, and 対策, just snap right into a natural business flow. Once the countermeasures are agreed upon, the moderator will close the proceedings with another essential expression. 結論をまとめます. I will summarize the conclusion. This phrase signals the definitive end of our simulated boardroom meeting, and actually, it perfectly signals the end of our vocabulary explainer today too.
You've just learned 30 of the absolute most essential meeting-related Japanese vocabulary words. By mastering these, you're not just sitting there. You can actively participate, confidently express your opinions, and deeply understand what's happening around you. So my final question to you is this: master the boardroom. How will you use these 30 words in your next Japanese meeting? Keep practicing, stay focused on those goals, and I'll see you in the next explainer.